This is the Tell Paris What Show. I'm Tell Paris. With
Yes.
me today and hopefully forevermore is my new best friend in the entire world.
In the entire world?
I'm going to say the entire world.
All
Tavi,
right. Mr. Tabby Tab.
Tavi Tav.
Yep.
Introduce yourself,
It's
man,
good to be here.
because the only people who listen to this so far is like one person back home in Wichita. I'm dead serious. No
Who's
one
that?
listens to this.
Who is his name?
Ken.
Ken?
My
Alright,
boy
well,
Ken
Ken,
is
I
the
guess you're
only
the only
person.
one. I guess you're the only one listening to this. Well, hi, Ken. My name is Casey Tavares. Military shortened my last name down for me to a nickname, Tabby, and that's just what I've been going by for a long, long time. So anyway, yeah, I'm glad to be doing this with old Tell here. Um, yeah, man, let's get this show on the road, dude. Let's do it up. First, we're gonna start off with the Bible verse of the day, and I was just kind of stumbling through my old notes, and I came across one that's it's really good. We're in First Timothy. It'll be chapter 6, verse 6 through 10. But godliness with contentment is great gain, for we brought nothing into the world and could bring nothing out of it. But if we have food and clothing, we will be content with that. Those who want to get rich fall into temptation and a trap, and into many foolish and harmful desires that plunge people into ruin and destruction. For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. Some people, eager for money, have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. I like that verse, man.
It's rough.
That's pretty rough.
That kind of speaks to what's going on today in a lot of rich people's
Oh man,
lives.
in
Like,
everybody's life, man. Let's be serious.
well, yeah, but
Rich people.
he's specifically talking about people that are wealthy.
Yeah, well, maybe not wealthy. I think maybe just
It sounded like physical wealth to me.
putting their entire life into money. Even if I mean I, even if they don't have any money, man, I want some money.
Yeah. No,
And to
you
go
can
out
do
there.
it when you're poor,
Yeah.
absolutely. But I'm saying it's easy to do it when you're
It's,
poor.
it's very
But
easy. So maybe it's the poor people that.
in our culture, the way that things are today, you see very wealthy rappers, movie stars, their lives are miserable
I bet.
and they have all the money in the
Oh,
world.
man,
Like
they're
it
freaking sitting there just rapping about how awesome their life is. I guarantee you that it sucks,
and they would tell you they love their life.
man. Absolutely.
They would.
Everybody's, they gotta keep that
If
appearance anyway.
if you're snorting cocaine off of
Off of a stripper's
off a
face.
stripper's ass, then you would probably say your life is pretty good. In
Inwardly,
the
though.
long run,
Yeah.
let alone eternity,
Yeah, definitely, man.
like
Definitely.
you got to draw the line at some point.
Well, man,
But
speaking as a drug addict, man, I know how hopeless that life is, dude. Or an ex-drug addict, hopefully ex-drug
well,
addict.
we're gonna do our
We'll
best.
do our best, man.
Why don't you go and tell us a little bit about that? Just because this is your first time on the show.
Wow, what, my testimony?
Yeah,
The whole thing?
we don't have time for the
I'll,
whole thing.
yeah, if you want
Give
that.
a short, because we're only doing 30 minutes. Where you running off to? That's four. That's four today. Why don't you?
But the
Why don't you?
the three start. The
No
three
one can hear you when you're not talking in your microphone.
it starts tomorrow.
It
Man.
starts tomorrow. Oh, is that how we're doing
Well,
it?
I mean, no.
That's how we hold each other accountable.
No.
You sound like You sound like JV right now.
Oh man,
I'm
no.
I'm only gonna smoke 3 cigarettes a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
That's it.
After this
Well, we
cigarette.
made this decision today, so
We
I
made
made
this decision yesterday
I made
that we
this
were gonna be holding each other accountable.
Well, you're holding me accountable and making me feel like a douchebag.
I know.
Am I a douchebag?
We're probably about to have to start switching bracelets.
Am I a douchebag?
I'm gonna let you smoke that cigarette because
Because it's a podcast.
it's the
And
podcast.
see, this is why we need a pipe, dude. Not like a ganja pipe, dude. Like a just tobacco pipe.
I have my tobacco pipes, not with me.
Well, then what good is that doing?
Well, we were trying to be clean for 40 days. We're trying to do a Daniel fast and all that.
Well, we are doing a Daniel fast.
Fair enough.
And it will, for people that are confused right now as to what's going on,
Yeah,
we
spouting off right now.
we gotta understand that people don't
Go
know
ahead.
us personally. So,
Tell them
uh,
about the Daniel fast and then tell them about your life.
well, no, the reason we're doing this fast, man, is God very clearly put Mr. Tell in my life. I moved here 3 months ago to where, by the way, we're in Odessa, Texas, and I moved here 3 months ago. I've been very lonely and I've been praying for some company, and I thought that was going to come in, because I've been so lonely. I thought that was going to come in the form of a woman, but I guess you could kind of say that
We
it did,
we always hope.
that it did come in the form of a woman. You are a woman, man. No, I'm just kidding.
Shut it
No,
down.
it came in the form of a friendship that I believe is going to be very God-centered and very very good, man. And I think we're going to be very because just like they said in the Bible study the other night, as one man or as iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. Very true, man.
Mm.
Which is where this is going to go. But we're doing this fast to get prepared for hopefully it was obvious, it was confirmed, that this was a relationship put together by God, and man, I think it's going to go a long way, and we just decided to do a Daniel fast, just to as a dietary thing, and also to just get away from things that we've been putting into our body, but more specifically, it was a couple things in our life that we really need to get rid of. And I mean, fasting, obviously. We decided we're going to fast for 40 days because in the Bible, I don't know if you guys know anything about biblical numerology, but the number 40 is the number of preparation. Jesus fasted for 40 days before his ministry, along with Moses. Moses fasted as well before
God made it rain for 40 days.
yeah, exactly. 40 days for what? A new world. You know what I'm saying? So 40 days we just felt was appropriate to an appropriate number to start for this preparation of hopefully a ministry. Well, man, I say ministry, but just our life should be ministry. But whatever it is that God's got prepared for us, man, 40 days was it. And I'm fasting, pills, alcohol, and I'm gonna cut back on cigarettes, but it's kind of difficult doing all three of those things at the
Originally, you
same
weren't
time.
gonna smoke any.
Yeah, but man, dude,
But
you can
I
ask Tell
understand,
though,
man.
man. I was a very, very
Uh,
unhappy person to be around.
Let me jump in and I'll say
Go ahead,
the
man.
exact same thing, that for the past 3 months, because we moved down here about the exact same time,
Exact same time.
I have been incredibly lonely down here in Odessa. Um, I didn't necessarily think that I was gonna find a woman. This town kind of sucks as far as that's concerned.
They're all taken, man.
They're all taken. There's a lot of rich guys down here, and a lot
How
of.
appropriate for this spot.
You gotta talk into your mic if you want people to hear you.
Or be boisterous.
Or be boisterous.
Go ahead.
It's one or the other.
Continue.
Yeah.
What you're saying.
But Monday night, this past Monday, it's Friday right now. Friday night, finally. Man. But Monday night, I went to a Bible study that our worship pastor invited me to a couple weeks ago. But I had just started doing MMA training, started doing some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and about 2-3 weeks ago, I think my rib is separated or fractured. I don't know. I can't go to the doctor because I don't have any insurance, and so I'm waiting for Obama to give me some free x-rays. It hasn't happened yet,
I wonder
man.
if he's gonna do it personally.
I would be down with that. If Obama like personally came to my home and like gave me some x-rays, like maybe turn your head and cough.
So you're saying you want Obama to touch your butt? Are we allowed to say that?
Are we?
I don't know. I feel like
I'm not editing
I feel like
anything.
they're gonna come through the roof and bungee cord, or like
It could happen.
like zip lines.
What was I turned my phone off because I feel like that's.
Well, I have my
You don't
phone
necessarily
on
have to do it.
access the internet though, so
Fair
so I can
enough.
have some
Yeah, I'm not
news or
worried about
something.
it.
But anyway.
But some SWAT team not broke into, because there's a SWAT team. They can't break into people's homes. They enter lawfully, always, correct?
By breaking your door.
By kicking your door in and pointing guns in your
I
face.
would call that breaking and entering.
I would call that breaking and entering.
That wasn't a knock.
I'm sure they had a warrant though. So when you have a warrant from a judge, you can do whatever the hell you want, and you can get a warrant any way you want these days. Apparently,
True.
That's a side note.
Back to the story. Man,
yeah,
we're gonna get off.
SWAT team.
And off on this. Man.
Yeah, that's what the podcast is all about, though, right?
Yeah, I guess. But we were talking about our friendship, and then all of a sudden we're in SWAT teams.
Well, SWAT teams are cool.
We're cool.
Hella. We should make our own SWAT team.
So continue with what you're saying, man. We went to we went to this Bible study.
And I decided that because my rib is separated, I can't keep going to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's never going to get healed.
Right, and I was actually stuck in town with no ride.
random.
Yeah, and Sean, I mean,
How lucky,
I
right?
probably would. Well, it wasn't lucky, man. That's
Oh,
just.
I know. That's why I
But
said lucky.
yeah, and I had Sean pick me up. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been at that Bible study. So,
I
anyway,
know.
go ahead with
And
what you're saying.
normally I would have gone to the cardio class for MMA, but no. Came to Bible study.
Two dudes
There's this
got
bearded,
here.
dirty, tatted up guy. Looked like a homeless man picked up off the street.
But you gotta admit, a good-looking homeless man at that.
Absolutely.
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 No, man, two guys from the same city. I mean, literally.
Both from
City,
Wichita, Kansas.
Yeah, City Life Church. I knew of them. I actually lived
I know of
for a moment right
Aviator
across
Church.
the street. Yeah, and you know of Aviator North, where church that I helped plant. Man, it's so weird. The ICT, man, been here at the exact same time and searching for the same things and pretty much very well the same person inside and out, man. I mean, this is trust me when I say this that this is a complete God thing, man, and that's it, man. So
There's absolutely no way that our friendship can be described besides God putting you in my life
yeah,
and God putting
absolutely.
me in your life.
Absolutely, man.
Like, and I equated it a lot to David and Jonathan
Yeah.
in the Bible because these are two dudes that, for all intents and purposes, should have hated each other. Like, Jonathan is the son of the king, and David is the newly appointed king, and in God's timing, Saul's gonna die. And Jonathan's probably thinking, I'll die too. And I don't get to be king because my very best friend in the world is gonna be king. Like, that's kind of gotta suck.
Kind of took his birthright.
Yeah. And, Jacob stole that from Esau, you know? But Jonathan saw it, and he was fine with it, because he loved God and he understood. You know, there's no two manlier men in the Bible than David and Jonathan.
True that.
David was a man after God's own heart. That's what God said about David. That's legit. And if Jonathan is his best friend, they've got to be pretty close. Pretty close.
Yeah, man. This is definitely a good thing, man. I'm looking forward to this and as it progresses and seeing where this goes, man. You know. And
Yeah.
hopefully reaching as much people as we can. And you know, by the way, if you guys hear us say something I don't know that you disagree with or you don't like our language, let me just tell you like this, man. I'm real and for you know, from what I've seen, you know, so is tell just real people, man, real people living in a real world, and you know, I don't pull any punches, and you know, some of the stuff that we might talk about, I mean, even my own testimony is dirty, man. I mean, I'm not sure people would even want to listen to it if I got even halfway through it, you know, especially not conservative Christians, man. 'Cause, you know, I've walked a very, 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 very crazy life, and you know, I mean, I am who I am, and you know, but I'll tell you this, man. I know who God is, and I know who Jesus is, and you know, that's my saving grace right there, man. That's who judges me, and that's who I answer to, and you know, hopefully you guys will just recognize that we're real, and we're trying to keep it real with you, dude. And you know, we're two guys talking, and this is what it is. So, you know.
Yesterday, I went and got a tattoo. And
Yeah.
a lot of people that would call themselves conservative Christians would probably turn this podcast off at that point.
Absolutely.
Like, what, you got a what? Pretty sure the Bible says you're not allowed to have tattoos.
I'm pretty sure your Bible's says
and then
that, you know,
the next part of that is I got a Harry Potter tattoo.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no.
Turn this podcast off.
That's 2 strikes.
2, man. I count that as
However,
I count that as 2 strikes in itself, man. So
well, and then the third strike might be that I paid $100 for the Deathly Hallows symbol, and it was probably that was expensive.
I could have done that with a.
I know you could have, man. You probably had
just a pin.
a needle and some ink. You probably wouldn't have got as straight lines as this guy did, though. It's a good tattoo.
It's a good tattoo.
But the thing about it was that as soon as I sat down with this guy, and I had talked to the receptionist girl, and I was like, yeah, I'm all about talking about Jesus and politics and stuff like that, you know? And she was immediately like, well, don't talk about that with the tattoo artist because he will just shut you down. He hates that kind of stuff. You know, he hates talking about politics.
Gosh,
he hates
people hate
talking about
Jesus,
religion.
man.
Bro,
It's
nothing. Time hasn't changed.
It hasn't, man. Jesus,
You know,
dead
nothing's
too, or I mean, dead physically, as far as his body back then is concerned, man.
Jesus
But
was.
people are still hating on him, man.
How many times did they pick up stones to throw at him?
Oh man.
It was more than once. And that was before he died on a cross.
Gosh, he's got millions of haters, man. We think just because we got it bad one day, because we got a couple people that are hating on us at work or throughout the day,
Yeah.
man. He's got everybody hating on him, man. We're hated because of him, man.
So I sit down. I'm getting ready to have the tattoo, and of course, what do? You talk to your tattoo artist. So of course, I just start talking about random stuff. Talk about a little bit about politics, and he's fine with it because I agree with most of the things that he's saying. Like I don't disagree. I actually do agree. And when people understand that you agree with them or aren't going to like judge them and try and throw it back in their face or storm out of the tattoo parlor, they're kind of okay with you.
Why is that? Oh, because you're being real, dude. Because real people need real influence in their life, man. And Jesus is real, and he's real through real people, too, man.
And through that, I got to share Christ with this guy. He claimed to be a pagan. Like, the words that he used to me were, I'm a pagan. Like, I'm not an atheist. I'm not Buddhist. I'm not open-minded. I don't really believe in any religion. He said it straight up, I'm a pagan. Like, he knows what those words mean.
It's a conscious decision.
It's a conscious decision. I got to show him the Jesus tattoo video. I showed you that last night. It's pretty cool, right?
I mean, it was cheesy, but
It's cheesy, but it shows the gospel. How many
you
times do you get to do that
You used a practical thing to relate to somebody.
How many times do you get to share Christ through a cheesy way with a dude who's a self-proclaimed pagan?
Good times.
Good times. They're few and far between. It was a
Well,
God
you never
thing.
know, man. Like, that could have planted a seed, man. And that's all.
That's what I'm hoping.
That's all that
What else
needs,
can you
man,
hope
is
for?
seed.
There's the
He'll do
Bible
the rest.
verses, the parable of the seeds.
Mhm.
Jesus throws it out there. You don't know where it's going. You don't.
Throwing it out there.
You're just throwing it out there. You have to. If you bring up Christ in the smallest way in any kind of conversation,
It's crazy
you
how
don't know where it's going.
Yeah, but it's also crazy how uncomfortable that makes people too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
Well,
It
Christ
even
came
makes
to
me
bring
uncomfortable
division.
sometimes sharing Christ with people. You know what I'm saying?
We talked about that the other day. Christ coming to bring division.
Oh man, it's uncomfortable. It's an uncomfortable. You can talk about anything, sex. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, I totally banged this girl last week, man. It was awesome. Get real gritty about those details.
Man, I
but
don't
man,
want to
you
hear
start.
about that.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying the way that people talk nowadays. You know what I mean? But I mean, you even mentioned Jesus, and they're like, oh, whoa, whoa. Oh gosh.
Oh, you're one of those.
You never talk about politics or religion at the dinner table. Man, I will talk about politics and religion, specifically Jesus Christ until the day I die, man. You know what I'm saying?
Those are the things that are going on around us.
Well, yeah, man.
Christ is going on around us.
It's like, well, I'd rather not talk about the things that are going on because I prefer where I'm at right now. My own little box, man. I make my money. I go home. My wife cooks me dinner. I watch TV and watch the news, and that's that. And then I get up and I'll do the same thing again, all over again tomorrow morning.
Yeah, if you're 50 years old and you get around with your friends that you were friends with in high school, and all you talk about is when you were in high school, that just seems like not a lot of fun to me. Like if everybody gets around and the iPhone 5S just came out and all you guys are talking about is the new operating system, you're either super nerdy, and maybe I can be down with that, but not for like an hour.
Well,
I don't want to talk about iPhones for an hour.
Speaking about talking about stuff that matters, man, let's talk about some stuff that matters.
Lay it on me.
I don't know, man. What do you want to talk about?
Did you want to share more of your testimony?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Man, I was in the army, man. I left. I joined.
I think you might need to start before that.
05. Well, I mean, I was raised in.
Or are you just gonna give?
Well, I was gonna
overview?
say from the womb to the pew, so to speak. And I took a completely different path. I don't know. It's just I don't know why. I just did, and from my high school days till now, it's just been nothing but drug use and womanizing and just all sorts of filth that I wouldn't even want to mention on this show. And 10 years, man. 10 years drug addict, and doing everything to please me or living in the moment. And man, it cost me a lot, and it cost me family. It cost me my fiance. It cost me a lot more than I cared to make, or a lot more than I was willing to pay. Let's put it that way. You know what I mean?
Fair enough,
And I
man.
paid, man. You know what I'm
It's a
saying?
good way of putting it.
It is a good way. And you know, through the grace of God, man, he physically removed me from where I was at and put me down here in Odessa. And man, I mean, man, I want to go into this so bad, but it's just it's not the I don't know. It's just too long, and I
We can save it for a rainy day.
don't know. We could save it for a rainy day when I have an actual half hour to just talk, because that's about how long it's gonna take. But just know that I mean, literally, God uprooted me from the place that I was at. I mean, I was selling meth, doing meth. I was selling drugs and all sorts of stuff. I lost 5 friends. 2 of them overdosed the same. This was all last year. This is all in the span of 1 year. This past part anyway, and I lost 2 friends the same day. My best friend, one of my best friends, very good friend of mine, was shot and killed 3 months ago over a pound of weed. Another one of my friends killed himself. Another one died from an alcohol coma. Went into a coma because he was 20, like 4, I think. Stopped drinking and it put him in a coma, and he died there in a coma. I mean, just all sorts of stuff you can possibly imagine. And then my stuff with my fiance, and man, I don't even want to go into that, dude. It's just, I mean, it was a horrible year, and you know, if God hadn't removed me from that situation when I asked him, and I prayed specifically to a specific God, and he answered me specifically, and here I am. You know what I mean? And there's no other way I'm here except for through His grace, and you know, that's, you know, I wouldn't have made it to 2014, but here I am, man, and I'm eager to see what happens. He's doing a lot of just so many things in my life, and I know in yours too, and our life together now. So that's what it is. But that's
God
it
is
in a
good.
nutshell. Yes, He is. So let's see, man. Let's see if we can look up some interesting stuff about what's going on in the world today. I don't know. You probably have something on your mind, so why don't you go ahead and say it while I'm
Oh
looking
man,
this stuff up, dude. I
I
don't
don't
know.
even know
What's
where I
been
would
on your heart
start.
lately?
There's the insanity level in this country is just palpable. You were talking about that the other day, walking into the grocery store, and you can just tell that people are pissed off.
Oh man, the
Like
tension is thick.
they're when people talk about like vibes and like people's auras, those things like are kind of we talked about
Oh,
that.
they're true, man. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? The energy you put off. Everything is energy,
I'm
man.
gonna
You
say
know,
that a lot. I'm gonna be
everything is
like,
energy,
you were
man.
talking about that the other day,
Yes.
and I should just start talking about it. uh, but there's a little bit of truth to that. Like your consciousness, we as human beings kind of do have this sixth sense of like picking up on how other people are
Oh,
feeling.
absolutely, man. Like, how do you
And
think people who are soulmates or whatever, man, you pick up the vibe, man.
yeah, hella,
I pick up your vibe. You're picking up what I'm putting down, dude. So of
totally.
course, man. So
Yeah.
yeah, the energy is
So
a huge thing, man.
the the energy, if you want to call it that, for lack of a better
The
word at the
vibe,
moment, the
man.
vibe.
The
The
vibe,
vibe
the
comes from the
vibe.
word vibrations,
Yeah,
which is vibrations of your energy,
man. Yeah,
which is new age BS stuff that I
man.
don't subscribe to that.
Yeah.
Like I don't use deodorant. Things like that. I eat kale shakes. That's hippie. Straight up. But I don't believe in crystals or vibrations or things like that. I think that there are 100% scientific explanations for like what we, for lack of a better word, call vibrations and
Yeah,
energy
yeah.
that
But
leads directly back to God and
oh
His
yeah, man.
creation of our world.
Oh yeah,
Like
absolutely.
that makes sense to me. Quantum mechanics,
Yeah,
quantum physics,
yeah.
those things put in a biblical worldview make 100%
They
sense.
do, and there's a thing called no final conflict, man. Which, you know, when the day comes, man. I mean, nothing that we think we know about science or anything will ever contradict God's word, man, and
Hmm.
who He is and what He's done in creation, man. Like, we think, oh man, we're coming up with all these new sciences that, you know, this should disprove God. No, sorry, man, because you're just proving what God already knew in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Who's why do people? I don't understand why people think it's so far-fetched, man. Oh well, science. What's science? Science is knowledge. What is God, man? God is knowledge, man. He's the source of it all, man. And it always kills me, man, because people claim to know truth, but they deny where it comes from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
What is the term for insanity?
Repetition. Doing the
Repeat.
same thing over and over, expecting different results, man.
Yeah. Like,
But yeah, man. Yeah.
we look up in the stars. I'm about to sneeze. This could be awful.
Don't do it in the
We
mic.
look up in the stars and you see comets. Like 20 years ago, 10 years ago, when I was little reading books about comets, they're like dirty ice balls. And now that's just been completely blown out of the water and they're like I can't remember the quote, but there's a scientist who said, "You would." Hey, man. It's all good. I'm not going to sweat it. But I'm going to bring it up on the podcast that he's smoking his 5th cigarette for the
That's
day.
not true, man. Don't listen to this guy. Anyway, go back to what you were saying.
Like every time that a new comet comes around in the solar system, the scientists that study comets are like, we have to rewrite everything that we know about comets every time that this happens.
As if they know everything about the universe.
Yeah, well, Neil deGrasse Tyson. I completely butchered his name, I think.
I have no idea who that is.
Oh, bro. You need to listen to some podcasts from that guy. He is smart. But I think he said it just the other day. I was listening, and he said scientists don't like to admit that they're wrong. Like, if a scientist has put something out there and said, this is what the data says. This is what I've done. And then later on, it gets proven that he was wrong. They hate that.
I wonder how many times Darwin has rolled over in his grave knowing that his entire theory is completely wrong. Just speaking of what you said.
More than once. I would say more than once.
He did a full 900 in the grave, man. Like,
a 900?
900.
That's a 360 times 2.5.
I don't know. I'm no mathematician. But anyway, we need to keep this structured, man. 'Cause we go off on these tangents. We're talking about man, the general vibe of the consent, man. Everybody feels it, man. Everybody knows that this place sucks. Everybody knows our government sucks, man. Everybody knows something big's coming, dude. And it's on everybody's mind. I just don't understand why.
That's the thing that I'm trying to put out, though, is that it's different. We do know that everything sucks. It sucked for forever. Like, the moment that we bit of the tree, of that fruit from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, we were screwed. Like,
Yeah,
it's,
man.
if the world is only 6,000 years old, at the most 10,000, which I believe, but I don't know because I can't go back.
Yeah.
But I believe from the timetables of the Bible, kind of the way
they can't disprove it, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But we don't know. I'm pretty dang sure that I know that it's like only about 6,000 years old. But God hasn't come down and told me that straight up. So I can't be like, I know. But I do know that it's not millions and billions of years old.
Yeah, man, it's a crock. But yeah, man.
However, okay, so anyway, I guess what I'm trying to get at is, despite things having sucked for forever, like, there's a tone of what's going on nowadays.
Oh, yeah, man.
Like, there's a feeling in the air, something is coming.
Something big, man.
Something big
And
is
it
coming.
is, and this isn't, oh my gosh, prophetic. The world is coming to an end. No, man, things are going to start changing. It could, man, but who knows, man? But
Jesus could be coming back.
I don't know.
Soon.
Could. Be on your guard,
if you're
man.
listening to this,
Bible,
and you're like, they're saying that Jesus is coming back. He might. I sure hope so.
Yeah.
We should be praying for that every day. You get into trouble, though, when you start saying Jesus is coming back on this day.
Yeah.
Because man doesn't know the time or the hour.
Nobody knows. But yeah, man, something big's coming, man. I think that people need to be prepared, you know. I think the most important thing, man, is to be prepared spiritually, because I mean, what else, in the end, what else do you have? You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people disagree with that. You know what? Oh man, you know, I got this and this, especially atheists or whoever, man. You know, I don't see a point to anything if it's not centered around God, man, because He's everything, you know. And people need to start waking up. But yeah, you know, God's everything, man. He's in everything. He's through everything. He created everything, man. People need to start coming into terms with that, you know, and getting rid of that all about I, man. You know, that selfishness, dude. We're so distracted too by culture and society, and especially here in America.
It's really easy to get distracted in America.
It's horrible, man. We're bombarded every day by sin, like just lust and greed, uh, you know, drugs, alcohol, man. I mean, glorifying idols, like movie stars and sports stars and stuff. And I'm not certainly not saying anything against it, man. But geez, when you got a magazine that's entirely dedicated to what these people are doing in their lives, and people just eat that stuff up, and man, there's so much more than that, man. Go outside, dude. Go camping. Go to a lake. Do something. Go on a walk, even, man. That's true for many people in this place, man. People don't even go out on walks anymore. They just plant themselves right in front of the TV, dude, and believe everything that's fed to them, man. And it's ridiculous, man. People need to start waking up because there's more that exists in this life, man, than that stuff, man. I mean, God, materials come and go, man. A fire could burn your house to the ground. Then what do you got, man? It's just
People don't want to wake up unless you,
because
like,
it's outside their comfort zone, man.
oh, yeah. But people don't want to wake up unless you give them a reason to wake up. And, like, 100%, what better reason to be woken up than for Jesus
Well,
Christ?
what other reason is there to
What
be
other
woke up?
reason?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what to say.
Well,
This
let's
is
see, let's dig in here some stuff I
Go
find
to
interesting.
Drudge. Or,
Ukrainian jailed for life for killing Muslims, planting bombs in the UK.
dang.
A Ukrainian man who murdered an elderly Muslim 5 days after arriving in Britain and planted bombs outside mosques was jailed for life on Friday. He admitted to stabbing the Muslim grandfather 3 times in the back and setting explosive devices which exploded near mosques in Walsall, Wolverhampton, and Tipton in central England. Oh my gosh, man.
I never heard about that. The
Oh,
bombs?
I just heard about it.
When did the bombs go off?
I have no idea, but he just said I mean, I didn't hear about that in the world news either. But then again, I don't
I
have
never
a
heard
TV.
about it.
I don't know, man.
I check the news every day.
Dude, I never even heard about that. See, not even Muslims are safe from being bombed now. You know what I mean?
Well, dude, oh my gosh. Because I get the
Or
news sent
terrorist
to my
acts
phone.
against them. You know what I mean?
There are bombs that go off in Iraq every single day. It's not even like every now and then. We haven't been attacked in 12 years since 9/11.
Oh, I don't know about that, man.
The United States hasn't.
I think so.
The
We're
United
attacked.
States
We're
of
attacked. Oh
America.
man, we're attacked every day in the border, man. There's American citizens dying from a drug war, cartel. That's terrorism right there, man. What, you think that ain't terrorism?
Yes, exactly.
And if an American citizen is
100%.
dying from something, from an outside,
But Fast and Furious. You know about Fast and Furious?
well, oh yeah, with the weapons and
Yeah,
stuff.
selling
Yeah,
guns to
yeah,
the
yeah.
cartels to
Idiots.
track them.
That's terrorism too.
Straight
Man.
up. But what I'm saying is, like, extremist Muslim ideology, the thing like Osama bin Laden, what we've been fighting supposedly since 9/11, like, there hasn't been anything like that on American soil since 9/11, like, at all. But Muslims are being killed by Muslims every single day. In Iraq, bombs are going off left and right. Like in Syria, Christian churches are getting blown up.
That's been
Muslim
happening for a
Brotherhood,
long time.
they don't care. They're killing everybody.
Care. They don't
You know?
discriminate.
Sunni, Shiite, like these different ideologies, there's extremists in them. And
I wonder what the Muslim reaction is to that guy blowing up. I bet they had
they probably burned a
oh,
British flag.
probably. I'm surprised they didn't declare jihad on somebody. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
already been declared.
Oh, I'm saying for that specifically, man. Like,
I mean, like
Jesus, this world is
how many
crazy,
times
dude.
can you declare jihad?
I don't know.
Like it's probably
I'm
a
not,
set number. You can only do it so many times.
I'm not very, fluent in the Quran and stuff like that. So maybe I should educate myself. I don't know.
Yeah.
I read
There's
books.
there's extremist ideology in nearly
But that
every culture.
yeah, that just
too.
goes to show exactly that. I mean, there's extremist Christians too.
They're the
Gosh,
guy
dude,
who shot George Tiller.
can't stand.
Like, what are
Oh,
you
yeah,
doing?
Yeah, I forgot about
That
that.
happened, because that happened in our hometown, Wichita,
right there.
Kansas.
Yeah, man, right in our neighborhood, man. That dude just walked up into a church and popped some holes in that guy.
My church had to hire a police officer to like guard our church after that
Yeah.
for a long time
I think our
afterwards.
churches are safe.
Because
nobody is
churches
safe.
were afraid of reprisal against them because somebody that claimed to be a Christian killed an abortionist. I don't agree with abortion. I think that's horrible. However, I don't think the way that making that stop is to go cap abortionists. That's probably the exact opposite of what should be going on. I'm pretty sure Jesus would not be walking around with a 45 being like, "Are you an abortionist?" "Yes." "Pow!" That sounds dumb. That sounds like the exact opposite of what we're called to do.
Just a crazy, crazy, crazy world, man. I forgot all about that tiller thing.
Mm,
Remember the Carr brothers?
yeah.
Man, from our hometown too. Man. Like, jeez.
Wow. There was a guy who beat. She wasn't even a 1-year-old baby. He, this baby wouldn't stop crying. This was in Wichita.
Yeah.
This baby wouldn't stop crying, and he beat the baby to death with a
with
belt.
A hanger, right? Or
a belt. Took his. The baby's not even 1 year old. That's the kind of world we live in.
Man.
That's in Wichita. You know, and we
Gosh.
could go all day about the
All
crazy,
day, man.
ugly, gross.
And a lot of people do, man. They're like, well, where's God and all this, man? And the world is crappy, man. See, and this is my personal. God, you know, good things happen to good people. Good things happen to bad people. Bad things definitely happen to bad people, and bad things definitely happen to good people, man. But you know, ultimately, all the evil that I see in the world, man, is human on human. You know what I mean? It's person to person, man. You know, and why we can't blame God for that. You know what I mean? People want to blame him for everything, dude. And you know, it's people, man. And that's my firm opinion, man.
I'm a horrible Christian because I don't have this Bible verse memorized. Look at that Bible verse about the raining on the righteous and the unrighteous.
Oh man, I have no idea where that's at. I guess
Yeah.
we're both horrible Christians.
No,
Dude.
look it up on your phone because I'm going to talk about prepping and preppers because you were talking about, you know, the vibe that's going on, the way that people are feeling nowadays. It's something big is coming. It could be tomorrow as much as it could be 5 years from now. You know, there's some crazy stuff going on in this country. Just in this country, you know, the government, the NSA, spying, you know, alleged or not, there's some shady things that are happening all around us. And a lot of people are saying, you know, you need to have like 5 years worth of food and let's stock up on some ammo. When you start shooting these politicians, and some of those things might need to happen, you know? Like the founding fathers.
I wouldn't be saying that too much.
What?
Man. I wouldn't be saying that too much. You'd be black bagged, and I'll never hear
I'll be
from
black
you again.
bagged, SWAT team.
It'll become the Tell Tavy What show.
Because no one knows where Tell went. Disappeared. It could happen. Adam Kokesh, he's a dude who did a podcast. He's a former Marine, and he did this podcast. It was called Adam versus the Man, and it was a video podcast also, and he talked a lot about drugs and smoking. You know, because I don't think that those kind of things should be regulated by the government. I don't think that the government should issue marriage licenses, tax. I could go on and on about that. Prepping. This is gonna be so hard to stay on task.
Well, yeah, I know, man. It's
Being
really destructive.
It's because,
but this is our first one, man.
It's our first one.
This is it, man.
We can
Be gracious on us, man. We're just trying to get this thing off the ground. The scripture is Matthew 5:45.
Read the verse before and after. Let's get some context.
What do you mean before and after?
Anytime that you're looking up a verse, you read the verse that's before and after.
That would be 43 through 40.
Carry on.
You have heard that it was said, love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, that you may be children of your Father in heaven. He causes the sun to rise on the evil and the good, and sends rain on the righteous and unrighteous. If you love those who love you, what reward will you get? Are not even the tax collectors doing that? And if you greet only your own people, what are you doing more than others? Do not even pagans do that? Be perfect, therefore, as your heavenly Father is perfect. And that was Jesus speaking. And obviously, he's not saying be perfect like we can be perfect, but I think that through him and our Father, we're made perfect in his eyes. You know what I'm saying?
But like you were saying about good things happen to bad people with good people, you know, why would a righteous God let things like this happen in our world? You know, God has a plan. The rain falls on the righteous and the unrighteous. The sun rises on the evil and the good. You know, like, I don't necessarily think Eminem deserves that $12 million home. he's a good rapper. Some would say,
Some would say I'm better.
but a lot. Yeah, you know, Tupac and Biggie, they killed each other. Like,
I don't think they killed each
no, Tupac's still alive. Straight up. But these guys have millions of dollars, and they were like they were best friends before, and then this whole Bloods and Crips things, they murdered each other,
other.
or had each other murdered, or
See,
people had them murdered.
you've admitted to me before that you're not very, you don't like old school rap, so
I
therefore you don't
don't.
know very much about it. It had nothing to do with Crips and Bloods or West or East, man. It's just
Not at all.
not at all, not at all. It's a whole lot.
Spit some
No, I
wisdom.
can't do it, man.
All right, fair enough.
Just
It's
know that
because
you're
we're white.
just know that you're wrong.
We're not allowed to
Yeah,
talk
I know.
about
I don't
Tupac
want
and Biggie
I don't want
because
these
we're white.
black people coming up to me. Hey, man, don't be talking about Tupac. You know what I mean? Tupac's a god, man. No, I'm just kidding. No, I love Tupac. He's my favorite rapper of all time, actually, if you can believe that. I got his lyrics tattooed on my leg.
Spit them.
Feeling crucial. Now, if you name that song and you call me and tell me, I will give you.
Don't give your number out on the air,
I'm not gonna do that.
because we're not on air. This is being recorded.
Right. To one person, Ken.
Ken,
Ken.
you're my boy, Ken. Thanks,
Ken.
dude.
I don't know you, but you're quickly becoming my boy too.
He's a cool cat. I worked with him at Chow.
Chow.
Mm.
What's that?
It's an Italian restaurant that I
Oh.
worked at in Wichita.
Okay. Anyway, back to what we were talking about.
Well, talk about God being righteous and
Sovereign is like in that his sovereignty.
just.
Oh, absolutely.
But talk about that. Like, why would a good God let bad things happen in our world the way that they're happening? Because there's some nasty
people
things that
have
are
free
happening in this
will,
world.
man. Free will is what it is, dude. But God works in absolutely everything, man. He works in bad and good. He doesn't just work in good situations, although some people would like to say that, but he works through everything. I know in my situation, man, I've been sinning hardcore for a long time, man, and I've seen him act in people's lives of people that I met while I was doing, meth with them. And I've seen that happen, man. He works in every situation. He's doing his work, man. And that's not for us to know, man. If we tried to know that, our brains would explode. It's not. We're not able to comprehend that in his plan, man. But ultimately, his plan is to give himself glory, man, because he's that good, dude. And who's to say what comes out of these things, man? All we hear about is the headlines, you know what I mean? But we don't see the personal effects and what goes on in those lives afterwards, And God's good, man. And just people are crappy, dude. People are, man. It just furthers the case that we are so far from God, man, and we are not worthy of anything, man, anything that he gives us at all.
Since the Renaissance time, there's been this philosophical idea that man is basically good. And yeah.
That's laughable.
What?
That's laughable.
You should laugh at that.
I am laughing at that. Didn't you?
That was so strange. I'm of the opinion that man is basically bad. Not alone.
Basically, man.
Not
we
even
are
bad.
inherently evil.
We are inherently evil. It really is only through the grace of God that we can do anything good. There are people out there that would not claim to be Christians, and they can do good things.
Yeah, man.
But God kind of calls us to a higher standard than that. It has to be. We have to be accountable to Him.
Yeah.
And if we were doing it on our own, impossible. Like 100% possible. It's
sad.
only through the grace of God
Yeah, that's it.
that we can do things that are good.
Man, this world's a sad place, dude.
Yeah, it kind of sucks. Heaven's gonna be sweet. I'm stoked about the new heaven and the new earth.
That's a
going
whole
back
different podcast.
I know, whole different podcast. But like the way it was before the fall, like Adam and Eve. That was one of my favorite things to talk about with JV.
Utopia.
Yeah. Like,
see, and not only are we
naked,
evil, man, but we just destroy everything, man. Like
we're cancer.
We're cancer to God's creation, man.
Human beings
Absolutely.
are 100% cancer on
to
this
cut
earth.
it out once before, man. It was called the flood, dude. He had to go in there and surgically remove the cancer, man. We were tearing up his world, dude. We tear up his world.
Only after 1,000 years.
We tear up his people. We tear up everything, man.
Only 1,000 years had gone by, and God was so upset with how the world was going.
Did we talk about this?
I know, we talked about this the other day. I'm going to say that constantly. Man was, I don't know, that's a different podcast. We can start from the beginning on that one. That would be fun.
Well, the point is, man, is that
You're going to have to get closer to your mic.
I doubt that.
I don't doubt that.
Oh,
I'm
you know
watching.
what? That's fine.
I'm watching the up and down lines
You
that
know,
mean things.
The up and down lines,
I don't understand
bro.
what they
Okay,
mean.
nice technical term there, man.
I know that when I talk, there's lots of big blue, and when you talk, there isn't shit.
Ridiculous. Well, man, it's not gonna get any better, man.
It's only
From
gonna
the
get
fall,
worse.
from the fall till now, yeah, absolutely.
It really
sin
is.
is a progressive disease. It does not get any better, people. It doesn't get better. Oh man, it's gonna get better, man. It's gonna get better. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's gonna get worse, man. And I mean, I'm sorry to. Does that make me sound like a Debbie Downer, dude?
It would if you didn't give the people hope.
Well,
So
yeah,
I'm gonna step outside,
because bad things are
and
gonna
you
happen.
give the hope.
Yeah, bad things are gonna happen, and bad thing. I'm talking, man. Go take your piss, dude. Leave me alone. You gotta be smarter in the door there, buddy. You need me to get that for you? Amateur hour. Wait, listen, guys. Through everything, through all that pain and all that hurt, man, and I know that, if you're listening to this and you're not Ken, or even if you are Ken, and you stumbled across us or whatever, man, let me tell you something. Anything that's in your life, that is bad, or you think is just, you're not able to get through it, or it seems impossible, man, there's always an answer, and that answer is God every single time. There's nothing else. And I've walked a life that, I've seen probably more than most people will see in their entire lives in the past year alone. But I'm telling you right now, man, there's a God who cares, man. And he is love, man. Like love in its entirety. Love isn't just an aspect of God. It's not just something he does. But the only reason that we even know of love is because God is love. That's who he is. Love is God. And
we can only even comprehend love because of God.
Sorry, there's a Bible verse about that.
There is a Bible verse about that. Once again, horrible Christian that I am because I don't know what that Bible verse is.
I mean, I'm bad with the numbers of it and everything else, but I mean,
I was in Awana
God
for
is sovereign.
years.
He's good. He is good, and man, bad things are gonna happen. People are gonna die. People are gonna leave you. Your fiance could, start dating your best friend of 12 years after you left for a month, simply for the fact of getting back at you. Yeah, that happened. you know, you're gonna get heartbroken. You're gonna get trampled on. You're gonna have physical sickness. You're gonna have mental sickness. You're gonna have people around you getting hurt. Your heart's gonna ache and break. Jesus didn't promise anything like a perfect life, like Joel Osteen and all these other people want to preach about. Just being physically rich.
I've heard
man.
about that guy.
And just man, he didn't promise anything. He said, man, even the birds of the world have a place to lay their head, or a place to nest, man. But the Son of God has nowhere to lay his head, man. It's a hard life, man. And I'll tell you what, when I wake up and I started actually applying Christianity to my life got a whole lot harder. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to live in ignorance, man, and easy to live outside, Jesus, and say, yeah, I accept him, and I believe that, and just go do your own thing, man. It's cheap grace, and it's easy to do that. It is not easy to wake up in the morning and make conscious decisions that yes, I'm gonna die to myself daily so that I can follow Christ, man. It's not easy, but I want to give you some words of encouragement, man. God is good, and you obey him, and you love on him, man, and you watch him love on you, and I guarantee you it'll happen, man. Guaranteed. And it's in my life, man. It's in my life, and I'm a walking, talking testimony to that, and I just want to proclaim his glory to the ends of the earth, man, because he is good, and he's the only reason that I'm here, man.
Hindsight is 2020, like a year ago, if you had told me that I'd be living in Odessa, Texas, especially at the part where we're at right
I'd
now,
have
doing a
laughed at you.
podcast with a dude that I met on Monday that I immediately am calling my best friend and am comparing our lives to David and Jonathan.
It's a bromance.
It's a bromance. What did you say earlier? What's your catchphrase?
I want to call this podcast Meat and Brotatoes. That's what I want to call it.
That's your catchphrase.
No, that's the name of this podcast.
No. The name of the podcast is named
Meat and Brotatoes.
Meat and Brotatoes.
Meat and
I dig it. That's your catchphrase, man.
No, it's the name of the podcast.
You can call if you want. I'm gonna start the podcast off, and I'm gonna be like, "Welcome to the Tell Parris What Show," and then you're gonna say,
well, actually, it's Welcome to the Meat and Potatoes Show.
But I run the
What are we doing? We're growing brotatoes, man. Brothers
Oh.
in Christ and sisters too. But I don't think a lot of sisters are gonna be listening to this podcast. They might.
They might.
They might.
I only post this on my Twitter. You can post it on your Facebook.
I guess the no chicks will be listening to it then.
I have 32 followers. It's awful.
I don't even have a Twitter, man.
I like it better than Facebook. I deleted my Facebook.
Facebook's gay.
Have you heard the privacy port for Facebook?
Uh-uh.
Don't. You really shouldn't, because you will feel really awful.
All right, man. Well,
They can take your information and do anything that they want with it at all.
well, I guess I'll delete my Facebook.
They can take, well, I don't know. Maybe you shouldn't yet, because I need you to post this on Facebook so we can get some more people listening to it. Because I'm a douche like that.
Or a douche.
And whatever.
Well, man, I think we've covered a good amount today.
We still got like 5 minutes. We're at 22 right now. Let's just make this a full hour.
We want to stare at each other for 5 minutes right now.
We can.
No, that's not.
Start jerking each other off.
No. Please don't say that.
Stare longingly into each other's eyes and whisper sweet nothings.
That will never happen.
I can't quit you. I've never seen Brokeback Mountain. I heard it's a pretty good story.
No, it's not.
Oh,
man.
I want to make more jokes about that because a lot of them just popped in my head.
It's probably not. Yeah,
Probably
I don't want to.
for the best not to.
Probably not start that.
Yeah.
I don't want a backlash. Well, let's close it in a psalm or something, man. You know what I'm saying? A good psalm here.
Fair enough.
Okay, God does this to me all the time. Well, yeah, he speaks to my highlighted portions a lot, dude. You know what I'm saying?
That's legit.
It is legit, man. I love highlighting my Bible because then you go back and that was meaningful then. It might be more meaningful now. I'm like, oh, wow. Anyway, let's go. It's Psalm. We're in the middle of Psalms 25, 25:10 through 15. All the ways of the Lord are loving and faithful. This goes right into what we were talking about in the world, man. All the ways of the Lord are loving and faithful toward those who keep the demands of his covenant. For the sake of your name, Lord, forgive my iniquity, though it is great. Who then are those who should fear the Lord? He will instruct them in the ways they should choose. They will spend their days in prosperity, not necessarily material prosperity. And their descendants will inherit the land. The Lord confides in those who fear him, and he makes his covenant known to them. My eyes are ever on the Lord, for only he will release my feet from the snare. And that's what's up.
It's totally what's up. We live in a culture that doesn't understand.
It worships self.
Well, they don't. Our culture in America doesn't even remotely understand how good we have it. Like, it's like 24.
No, I'm saying how many minutes?
Oh, do like 3 or 4 minutes. We don't even remotely understand how good. We have air conditioning and cars and cell phones, and we're recording a podcast.
And water.
And water. Clean
and
water.
I can go to my fridge and eat a tortilla right now if I want.
That's delicious.
Not a lot of people can do that.
But there are people that are living in other countries that don't have remotely anything even close to that.
Yep.
And they're happy. They're happy people.
Yeah, that's why
there are people that live in the jungles of Africa.
That's where I want to go, man.
In
right
mud
now.
and dung huts. That's awesome. They're happy Christians. They go to a church that's made out of sheet metal and
That's because
tin.
they don't have anything, so they're happy with not having anything. We have everything, and we're not happy if we don't have everything. Ladies and gentlemen, be grateful for what you have, man,
Hella.
and have that be enough. All right.
Hella.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this.
Man, you're ready to be done.
I'm just saying, I wanna sign it off properly, not just have it cut off, dude. So
Yeah,
we decide when this ends. We're in control. But yeah,
I'm down with me. I'm down with being done.
yeah, man. All right. Well, hey, you guys have a good one, good week, and we'll be coming back to you with more. So
That's my boy Tavi. Love you, bro.
yeah, yeah.
Fantastic. This is a Tell Paris What show. We're done.